My Heavenly Father, our Creator, has blessed us with another glorious day, and it was a great Sabbath. I was able to spend some time with my son, and we watched, I believe it's Dark Waters. I shared it on Facebook, and then tweeted it out. It's pretty pertinent. It's amazing how things kind of just fall right into place. And then my granddaughter, my daughter just brought little Hazel Lily Hope home from the hospital just now, so I figured that I would um, take the opportunity to just make a quick. Well, here, let me say hello so that I can say hi, and then I want to brush up. I want to bring up a couple things I want to. Yeah, I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold. My grandson, I believe, brought home a little bit of a. Then I jotted some stuff down. Okay, now I want to back up a little on before I went and met this beloved uh, game warden. This just these type officers are the type of people that have made me literally just rethink the whole authority figure issue. It's helped me to kind of come to some terms. It's a process for sure, but um, so yeah. Where was I going with this? It was supposed to be a pertinent point um, with let's see, trying to bring up a point here, my beloved. Just stick with me. I'm honestly just kind of flabbergasted. They just walked in the door not even 30 minutes ago. My son set up the, not to cop please, but my son set up the audio and everything for me, and I was ready to roll, and they came in through the door, and so I just wanted to get a video out, and so I'm still kind of just a little gobsmacked. She's so beautiful and tiny, and like I said, she hasn't even been here a whole probably 27 minutes. But I want to get some things out because it's important. Um, uh, oh yeah, that's what it was. It's exactly, praise the good Lord. Thank you, Yahweh. So just like that beloved officer down the road here, when I first met Tawana, we got that place in Three Swamps, which is actually three ponds on 255th and Mountain Highway, just right down here. We're on 304th and down a ways, but not too far. And I forgot to add, when I was cutting into that wall, tweaking to see what was behind that mirror, I forgot to tell you guys what threw me against the other side of that closet. And I had cut in to the main power line from the box, like your fuse box. Outside came straight in from the line down through the deal into those wires. That's where I was cutting into, because at first it went in real easy. It's just cheap, and I knew I couldn't go too far because I didn't want to go through the other side of the trailer. I just wanted to. Oh, I was gone, but I had cut in to. That's why I said my eyes probably, you know, some of you might have been thinking, well, what if it's only 120? That ain't nothing. You can hear Jax. He's howling about the baby. Beautiful, beautiful little, tiny little, gorgeous little baby. I'll take a picture of her and post her if it's okay with my daughter. My daughter's having, say a prayer for her too. She's you know, just having a little baby. It can be, you know, postpartum, you know, just you know, kind of, you know, a little on the bluesy side now and again. At least that's what I've seen. You know, I haven't experienced it myself per se. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up, and and um, yeah, he did. He was one of many cops. Now I have a few. And when I say cops, I mean officers, as in just serve and protect, and just morally, just you could tell. Even with I've just really been just really a creep to a lot of these guys, and I've had a lot of issues with some of them, but like I said, those aren't important. They really aren't, as far as I'm concerned, because it's, you know, they you can kind of see what's going on. It's the system, and people are starting to wake up. It's a beautiful thing. So that I got that out of the way. The three swamps thing. I wanted to make sure that was actually out of the way and taken care of. And then let's see. Um, Still praying for that for Brandy, the anti-vax advocate, the that brave soul that risked and gave pretty much martyred her life for plumb true justice in the form of walking in faith. And you can imagine, you know, well, I know, again, I don't have to imagine, I already know that, you know, they've been threatening me so long. That's why after a while, people, when your life is threatened as much as mine, and been put in a position where your life could be just taken, and it hasn't. And I mean, I'm not talking about just threats. I'm talking about where your situation is because I found myself, I thought I would, and I didn't even know this, but you know, a really good friend of mine and clinician, but he was just, by then, he was just a really good friend of mine. Him and I, we loved each other on a real, you know, Christ-like, solid, manly, you know, when he heard, like I said, that lady wasn't able to hug me, he said, well, you know what? He didn't say that, but he just, and he wasn't, he, you know, people just don't, even though I'm a hugger now, people didn't just reach out and, you know, and that would have been stepping over the line for a clinician and a patient, or you know, someone on their caseload. But he knew that I needed it because I had been nothing but honest with him. And that man was also showing me something else. He was showing me he was boss, because he was supervisor there. That's why they got rid of him. They got rid of him because him and I, the truth got rid of him for now, but it's all coming back around. Oh, it's beautiful, people. Oh, I'm so excited. It made me so happy. So happy. And Melly, gosh, I love you so much. I wasn't even able to watch your video because I had it on my phone, and it was, so I just texted a little bit. And there's a bunch of stuff that was going on, and then I was able to go on my computer and look, and then it was started to play, and then it just got, then had taken it off, so I wasn't even able to. But not long after that, I was laid down to pray, and it was a nice time. It was, you know, I really enjoyed spending time with my heavenly Father and praying for all you people, and just hearing all the prayers of the saints and the becoming saints. Just it was just it's complete. It's, and people, when they say on these live chats like this, when they say, you know, I hate you, Roy, or this and that, a lot of times they say this stuff in code. Now they're just getting real bold because, and they try to throw curves and stuff like that, like this, you know, try to insinuate that I'm this, that, but you guys already see through it. A lot of you already know it. You're starting, and things are starting to spread. See, that's the thing. Sin could be considered as yeast, or it could be considered as faith, as far as I'm concerned, the way that the Lord had me. So when you hear them say, I hate you, just know that I love you more, eternally, more than they or it can ever hate you, me. That's what this is all about. It couldn't possibly hate me as much as I love you guys. And I'm learning how to do that just by loving myself because of everything I've been through, so that I can help other people along the way, so we can, and then other people will come out. And that's why once we get to, and I got to change this, pardon me, I have to change the title. It's 16 or 17, which I'll take it, because now, wrap it up. It's now just right after it's going on to the first day of the week. And again, I'm glad. And I want to bring that up. That's not even had been written down. That's got to be, don't trip. I know what's right for me. I know Sabbath is Saturday, and I know that what's right for me, and I know what the Lord has spoke to my heart, and asked me to complete as a fulfillment, while illustrating His good nature through my obedience and just service, through my testimony for you people. That's all this is. I'm just a messenger. And now, like I said, when I said there's some things that, and I'm still having a hard time, but I don't think you're ever going to hear me say certain things. But then again, I don't know, this whole thing has become so amazing, and it's so amazing to be alive. And I want to tell you something. I'm not trying to brag, but do you know, I would never have been able to do this stuff ever. You know what? I better hop this up just a little bit without the good Lord, because I'm telling you, there's just, well, let's just say there's all kinds of stuff around that, you it's just awesome what the Lord is doing. And it's not just, like I said, when you might not think you might not think you're seeing the fruits of your labor, your faith, manifesting in your life. But man, I'm telling you, it is. And somebody else is seeing it. If nothing else, it's all being it's all being recorded, and it's not going to go now. Oh, and another thing, and this is another thing before I forget. So all that's good said and done. Everything's going to be revealed. We're all going to be revealed, even the ones that are going to be mocking for eternity after quite a bit of punishment. The time frame, I don't know. Might even be a case by case basis. But I wanted to bring up something that was something about okay, the Sabbath. Okay, we already know that has to be, let each one be settled in their own mind with that, on what day, on what food. We know that. So, and that's really where it's all, where what it's all about. But there was something else, and then I got sidetracked because these things I do, progress in progress. Maybe something up here will, because it wasn't in the lineup. What is it? Oh yeah, no parlor for Olroy. No parlor for me. My son tried that. They're not. No, they're not. And I'm not. I don't even know if my stuff's going on, because I haven't looked from a third party, and I don't advertise my stuff, because the Lord, I shouldn't say should, because things are, when you live by complete faith, I get, they're just exactly how they're intending, and the Lord's using these situations right now. But the vision I seen in all this, there's a lot of you know forward movement. And don't get me wrong, I do want to eventually, and will, even, I believe, even before our eternal homes are being constructed right here through us now. That big culture thing, I know I hate saying that, but that's the only illustration of what I've seen, and just, oh, it's so more magnificent. We're all going to see each other. We're all going to know. And let's see. the time frame, and there was something else. The time frame that people suffer, not important really. It's just it'll happen. But then the gnashing of teeth, go backwards. What else was it? For the love of truth, Father, help me. Let's see. Mm. And we know that we already brushed over the 144,000. The way I'm receiving it, and the unnumbered, and the reason why Yeshua is, of course, he's coming through us, and of course there might be more that I'm just telling you what I'm receiving right now to to share with you, and that is undetermined. Knows the day, the season, or knows the day, the hour, or doesn't know the day, the hour, but knows the season because that is undetermined, as is the number. So yes, knows the beginning from the end. I absolutely, I like I said, it's just there's more to this. We are not able to grasp it yet until we're clothed in complete seamless righteousness. Once we're clothed, because then we're going to be able to handle all of that knowledge that we would have got to begin with, that the angels went ahead and dibbled and dabbled and fell and got cast down and all kind, and then all the defilement. That's what this is. It's all this stuff is with this guy, all the stuff that's, this is all culminating behind sin and just pride and ego. That's what it is. That's why I said Lego my ego. But don't oh no, it couldn't possibly hate the love out of us and what we're becoming. When I say us, I mean, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Man, we're becoming, right. He seen it was good to begin with. Don't think for a minute. Okay, so because I'll end up getting into it, and I want to go. I want to hold my baby, but I needed to. It was important that I get something out after Sabbath in that dark water. That was pretty cool. Like I said, I don't do no, like I won't answer no offer up or none of that stuff. I won't talk to any attorney. I won't do much like that on Sabbath. But I do stuff. It talks about it all over, and I'm okay with that. But when you go and you start not being, because you can't turn light switches on something, you probably ain't paid your bill or something. I don't know. But anyway, let's see the Brown family. I'll brush over that in a little bit. See Fruit of the Loom. I'll brush over that later. Zenith. I wanted to talk a little bit about um, uh, Kenny and the Brown family. One of my brothers and friends that whom I love so dearly here, that I'm friends with on Facebook. His brother Jimmy, may he rest in peace. And I won't go into detail because I don't have any permission. But I really honestly grew very fond of this. He was much older. This young man. He loved Jimi Hendrix. Was always playing Jimi Hendrix. Um, and Thomas, his younger brother, he was the oldest. Renee and Sarah and Kenny, and, and but not Thomas. Um, Mrs. Brown, they're the father of the children. From what I understand, I think I think he was the one, not my uncle in Butte, Montana, Hank's dad. Which that's a whole nother tragic story too, and I'll get to that, which is crazy on story when I tell you about uh, coming back from Portland, Maine, to turn myself in on who I met there in Butte. Anyway, so darn it, I got off track again because see, this is good. This is extremely good for me, and I hope someone here is going to get something out of it. I believe they will. That's this whole that's so this whole journey is about, is that once you are onto something, unless you're led, and that's why I say I can't reach. And with all this crossfire, that's why I lend nothing but honesty, because I want you to know how important it is to receive. When I say there's no big eyes and little U's, I am learning this stuff too, people. So I forget stuff. I'll start going off here, and it's not that it's not true. I'll just plumb for, oh, here we go. It's just that that's why I don't reach. I try to live by faith. I don't reach too far, because when I'm doing, just like when I'm doing videos, and there it is. It's like, there's no way that could be lined up like that on my phone, and it be bugged up like that, unless it just it doesn't feel that way. The Lord's showing me that we're showing you all that no, all that stuff, it takes that which isn't, makes it as if it were, makes it as if it are. So, and you're seeing some amazing things. So stuff that you might say, oh, that's kind of evil. Nuh-uh. If the intent's not there, and I'm starting to see a lot of stuff, but that's what it was. Jimmy and Zenith store. That's why I posted that thing today, and people might have wondered why. Some of you may not. And I was going to post it on Twitter, but then again, um, so the Masonic home, and like I said, I'm going to bounce a little bit back and forth, just because even in the book, as I like looking across from the place I picked up the phone where Teresa, you know, I was able to get a little, you know, I don't know, a little justice, a little real supernatural justice. And then at the same time, didn't even realize that just years before, I was down the river about ready to take my own life, and asked the Lord to show me if he was alive and real. And then even before then, the very first time I tried to take my life, and remember my mom came, and because I had already went through it, and they'd pumped the other guy's stomach. She said I was white as a sheet, and I just wanted my grandma. I wanted my grandma to take me home. But there's that Roxy right there. I didn't even know that. It's not that I didn't know that, I hadn't made that connection. You would think I would. But when I was thinking yesterday, when I was telling you all the story, in my mind, I'm bending down, picking up this box, which is just one of several boxes. And I know it's wrong, but because I myself donate to the Goodwill, and stuff like that. Not so much anymore, but uh, and in my mind, when I bent down to really get that, because that's how that story is rolling in my head, I'm staring right at the Asian store. They used to let three of us and a staff go in to get a little something before we go in, so we didn't have to pay for the concession. And it was cheap. It was real cheap, and they take the loft. The first place I went when I was made a ward to the state of Washington after Jesse dies, or not Jesse dies, after the Sherman Brisky Boys Ranch didn't work out. Thank God it didn't for old Gene telling them ghost stories, hang 'em high, Slover. Had all them bikes, at least 12 or 13 of those little trail bikes. Now, I don't want to trail off, and only rode one. Only one was rode the whole time that I was there, other than just the children that were rode. And he did it. His fat ass, excuse my language, rode I don't know, it must have been some sick, twisted deal game or something. But anyway, I digress. I had some pretty good, actually, a couple good experiences with the Asian cook, Adam, and believe it or not, the guy almost shot the eye out. He was fine. He ended up. It was a surface wound. I just nicked him. By golly, and so. But anyway, Zenith. I sent that picture of the Masonic home because I had done some some pretty crazy stuff there at that place, and it's like an old castle. Now there was another big mansion of a house that they moved, and I can't believe they actually moved this thing. When I seen this moved as a young man, uh, very young, troubled. Like I said, I was still able to hang on, even through all the TikTok trailer crap and the babysitting and all the weird stuff that was happening, which started the soiling of the pants, which started the induction of suppositories, which people say that didn't happen, and the roasting of my fingers because of the burning and stuff, which is all legitimate, but not the solution was pretty. It was the solution was like the side effects of this medications. But now I'm getting off track. So anyway, that Masonic home comes into play because Jimmy Brown used to take and pick mushrooms. He would pick the psilocybin mushrooms, and they would chase us. The groundskeepers would chase us, and this place is huge. And like I said, we would pick mushrooms on this house that they moved, and I was absolutely flabbergasted that they moved this thing. Must have been it. Well, it's still there. I drove by it and took a look at it. It's a nice. It's still, they've kept it up really nice. It's closer to the water, and but I couldn't believe that they were able to move that big thing down down closer to the water, which the Masonic home in Des Moines, it's real close to the sound, which I just grew to love down there. It's not nothing like what it used to be now, but me and Jimmy, before he started hanging with other friends, would take us down there, and we'd help him pick mushrooms and stuff. And I don't ever remember eating any mushrooms real young like that, but I do remember smoking some pot with him out of which was really rare because, like I said, it would just fill up once in a while if because this was around Ted. He'd come in and smoke weed, or it depends on just who was in the party. Some of the party people were kind of were weird, but so the weed was not abundant. So it was a rare thing. But the reason I bring that up is because the Masonic home has a big pond that housed some pretty expensive koi that I found out the Asians in High Point, West Seattle, where my cousins now lived because they moved out of our South Park farmhouse. It's crazy because I was just talking about Hank, which, well, not really, I guess. That some stuff happened there, and I met some people years later coming back from Maine with my family after I got the impression and came back, turned myself in, handed myself over to the dragon. I didn't know it was a dragon then. It was just Satan then. But I've come to realize just what we're dealing with here, me love. By the way, you look great. You look fine without makeup. I don't look, man. I'm not going to wear makeup for you. I'm not for people that you already know. I'm fishing for my future wife, and she already knows who I believe that is. Hey, I'm just along for the ride too. I'm so the Zenith. They had this little store called Zenith, and I didn't know this. I didn't know this until today when I was like, you know what? I think there might be pictures of that Masonic home. I want to tell the story because this isn't even in the book, but it certainly is in the story and in the journey, and so I need to share it. See, this is why I needed to do this, and there was a reason why they snapped it up and did the old snapdragon and dragon tails. They started to cannibalize all the, because that's what it is. When I say they cannibalized it, they just ate up all the parts of them themselves. It had nothing to do with me. I was just a recipient of that twisted, psychotic crap, and they're smart. They're psychotic, twisted, evil, and demonic, but they're not stupid. They are now because they are ultimately stupid because they're already paying. So the Zenith, I found out, is a spot there in Des Moines. And I didn't look too much into it, but I'm like, wow, Zenith, that's that store I used to go to when I was a kid. And it's real close to the water. I also used to bomb my bike after still and koi that I'd catch from taffy, usually not the taffy because I'd want to eat the taffy. You can get a bag of candy down there for $1. I'm serious. There was a penny a piece. Sometimes might even be able to get 2, 3. And the guy in that little store, he lived downstairs. And my mom would send me down there, and they would just sell. They would give me, it's for your mom. They would just give us cigarettes, and I think that's part of why. And of course, we couldn't open the cigarettes, but it was just a different time. I guess that's why I'm using that illustration. But a bag of candy, little tiny little store right there, overlooking the water, and I would bomb down this with this fish that I'd catch with taffy and gum. This big round, it's probably still there. I don't know, they may have taken it out and try to sell them to them Asians. And looking back, I was troubled. Well, one day I had got caught. I got caught. Well, we got caught on that property. You can look now. That's why I sent that picture. We've gotten caught many times by, and I don't even know who groundskeeper. They were all different types of people, so I don't know what was really going on there. But looking back now, there was some kind of anyway. I finally had gotten caught, and I had my old Huffy. I had a Huffy with the one my dad right before he passed. Got this bike. Used to get one every year usually, which wasn't a whole lot of years because it was. So the Huffy with the mono shock in the middle and the kind of the for lack of a better term, the maple bar kind of shaped seat, orange Huffy, and so if you push on the seat, it was probably more for sure. It was kind of a comfortable ride, but I got that bike snatched. I was riding right behind me. The guy just snatched the bike up, and I flew off. And he's trying to get me, and I'm running, but he gets my bike instead. And he goes, because I'm going to hang on to this. You need to have your parents come here if you want this bike back. And I thought, dang it, this ain't good at all. I said, because now Ted was the new head honcho. Now this is after a bunch of different stuff had went on. So quite a little bit of time, not a whole lot. So it was kind of crazy. But he was working all the time. Like I said, either Tacoma Boat, Todd's, Lockheed. He made pretty good money. He just had a drinking issue. He was the one like I said, that old Redfern played those little. Anyway, I'm not going to get off track. So I got my bike taken. I'm thinking, man, Ted's going to be, because he wasn't one. He was, like I said, he was the one. Bob, break your nose and tear your clothes. He wasn't one to mess around with. And he wanted to make sure my bike, because now we had just had our house broken into. Isn't that ironic? And this is before my spree started, but the neighbor's kids, because he had a bunch of, because his son Lester beat up a couple of the kids. He was kind of a tough little dude. He had open heart surgery and everything. That's what knocked him for a loop when he got those bad mushrooms in Maple Lane. But they got pissy when he got sent up, and they broke into our house and stole the guns out of, because we used to be able to get the guns out of my dad's gun. It was Fred's old gun case, but it had a lock on the bottom, but you could take the top and you could move the glass enough to reach down in and just pull the rifles out, and then there was ammo up top on top of the deal. Because what good is the? He'd think, I mean, he didn't even if he didn't have a gun, the ammo's it's just in a box, so he didn't think it was. So and we used to, you know, shoot that gun once in a while in the yard, and just decimate robins, which I really feel bad about doing, and I can imagine what the neighbors were thinking. Boom, and right in Des Moines, right there on like I said, 24403 14th Avenue, right on 14th Avenue, right down. Like I said, that's why I said the sun would come. I cut my teeth up there on that flea market when I was a kid. I think that's why Fred used to build these boxes and stuff, and he'd see stuff at the carnival. He goes, "Man, I can do that." He'd put the paint on it, and the centrifugal force would. Well, I don't get me started on that. Would the frisbees and cards and stuff. So anyway, they ripped off our house, and he was kind of he wanted to make sure those bikes, everything were in. So I knew, I there is no way I can't let too many nights go by where I don't have that bike. I can't tell them that I was still in koi fish, because they've been trying to catch me for a while, and plus I know the bubble gun was probably stopping them fish up. You know. Anyway, I had to come up with a plan how to get my bike. Now, if you look on my Facebook, this place is huge. It's just like might even be bigger than that Shining Mansion. Oh yeah, where I seemed to be when I was a little kid. Man, Hotel California. Oh my goodness. That's how I felt like that little boy when he was like that in his bed in that pogo deal that I didn't know why he was going to have me send, but I did. And there it was. They're all just lined up. They're all lined up. He says, "Okay, go ahead." And I go, "Well, what about it's not the right time?" He just says, "Just send it." Hello. Just send it and let them know. Take what you could use, leave the rest. If you don't say they know you're bold and you're okay. I got you justified. Just don't reach too much. If you don't start reaching, you'll be all right. This isn't about you. It's about me for them, and then it's about you. If you decrease, I'll increase in you. If you're last, you'll actually be first, and that's how this is working. And I'm not messing with it. So here I am. My bike's snatched up. The only one that can come up, with something is probably Jimmy, because he's been on that property many times picking mushrooms, and him and his Charles. That's who it was. It was Charles. They grew weed and everything in this shed that they had. This really neat shed they built behind those project houses by Saltwater Park that Chris Munden or Nick got rolled over by that big deal, which that's all going to come into play with his brother Chris and that True Blood thing that when I got sent off to the Dragon's Lair to slay the dragon. It's just amazing. It really is. It's crazy. I can't even keep up with it myself. But I don't have to. It's why I just have so much faith that's why where much is given, much is expected, and where much is expected, much is it given. And I'm just I know now, and I try to stay humble and meek, and I can't wait to talk to you about that meek when I shared that on Meek, what I seen at Meek's Lumber. It blew me away. And then, of course, it got burnt right off my buddy's Jerry's deal. But I don't want to go too far ahead, but there's something to this here, man. the rain fall on the just and the unjust alike. Just because something happens like that, and you could be the holiest of holies, and it's time for you to experience that for whatever reason, to get you closer to the Lord, or somebody else to show them, give them an opportunity to see, the Lord shine through your disappointment, and then triumph in realizing that this too shall pass. So I got to get my bike, because I know that this dude is not. This is right before my mom took me down to 1211 East. It's not very long before that, and he wasn't. One thing about Billy, now he was a roughneck. Like I said, I pulled stitches right out of that dude's head, which is not that big of a thing, It's but for a little boy, that was a big thing, and you know I did get a little weed from him because he got stuff from California from his brother Pat. Remember, we went down and I got pictures. I'll show you. I'll put them on. As a matter of fact, I think they're online, where I was on his shoulders, and this is a miracle that's just. This is in the top 10 of the miracles that I'm. So I don't want to get too. But that's why I shared that trip in that camper, which a lot of stuff went on in that camper. Mostly the housing of stolen property, my neighbor stuff. But then the passage of the ear, my pierced ear, so that I could be saying to everybody, "Look, Bob, I'm done. Yeah, I'm not a homo. This is not me." A lot of stuff. But so I got to get the bike, and a matter of fact, this is before I even got, because I hadn't met Bob until I got made ward to the court. So she was married to him probably quite a little while, a couple few years at least. Because when she first married him, oh, things were crazy when he first died. Oh, it was crazy. It was nuts. Um, but right when she first got together with Ted, and I liked Ted, he was awesome. But back to the point, right when she first got together with him, that's when I went to Sherman Brisky Boys Ranch. But to the point that I got veered off at is she never let those, us kids were her kids, and but she didn't really act like it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, but that was it. Billy's kids were, you. So and with all his work, and I can see why, because sometimes I look back on, a guy that was so, even in his, and he worked every single day. It's just on the weekends and stuff, you know. But he went to carp and couple of different treatments. And I remember him loading the freezer up with candy bars, and don't eat them candy bars and stuff. And he really tried, and he did well. But he did real well, and made a lot of money. But I just wondered why the heck he wouldn't step up to the plate. And now the Lord made it real clear. Oh, she would never have that. So things just went. It didn't matter how south they were going. He just did what he did, and he was getting what he was getting, and he was paying that because they were buying that house. She ended up selling that house. My cousin is still in that house. My Billy sold that to a matter of fact, to my aunt Nita, that I went and visited her sister Arlene, when we used to go and go to all the to-dos with there, all the family gatherings. Awesome gatherings. It's her daughter owns the house still at 24403. Still, I went by it just the other day. Of course, it's not even. It's not it's really nice. It kept nice, but the neighborhood's just, there ain't no woods, no nothing. But that big mansion, so it's like that Shining deal, probably way bigger. And I knew I had to get my bike. So the very next day, and it had to have been, it must have been summer or something, I don't know. But I know it was the next day, because I knew there couldn't be that many days that went by that I couldn't, because he would make sure. because our garage you went right out our kitchen deal. There was a small patio. There was our garage, and that's where my mom did all her laundry. And he piddled around in there at night sometimes, and he would know if those bikes weren't in there. Well, anyway, so I had to get that bike. So the next day, and I knew that we wouldn't, we would definitely have to be in school. It must have been summer, but the very next day, I didn't waste any time. I went straight to that place, and that's why I posted a picture. And I forgot about that. And Lord said, look, Google it. So I went Masonic Home. There it was. I went, man, I started pulling up pictures. That's why I posted Saltwater Park too, because it's just, it's the neatest place. And there's cliffs. Saltwater Park, you don't see them, but man, we used to go because there's a park. It's a state park. There's camping back in there. You can camp. There's people that stay there. I've stayed, and I don't want to get too far ahead. I'll get to that point. You could stay up to a month there. But we used to go once. We'd go down and do all the crab and the mussels and the sand shrimp and the clams and the oysters on occasion and the fish and oh man, we had all of it. You could smell it. Oh, it was so good. My mouth is watering. I don't even eat most of that stuff anymore, but they'd come down and they knew we weren't from the camp because you couldn't have, you know, uh, fires at night there on the beach. But you could back at your campsite, which was way back down up into the canyon. Well, which it wasn't too far. It was a good, probably a half-mile walk. But they knew we weren't from there anyway. And so the only way we could get away, and I've been busted before and ended up having to do community service there and have to repair the trails that I, tore up with a little YZ80 and went through hunting and stuff. Beautiful bunch of trail stuff. It's completely different now. It's decimated. Now there was so much wildlife. And like I said, that creek was running with salmon when they were spawning and cutthroat. And I think Dolly Varden or brook trout or something. It was just loaded. And so, but they knew we weren't from there. And we'd go up these cliffs, and man, we were climbing like little, like I said, ringtail lemurs. Boy, I was going up there like Curious George, just swinging like a little monkey, climbing up them cliffs. And I'll tell you, if I was to see the bottom, but there was so much stuff, I would have been too scared to climb to the bottom. But my adrenaline was going. We were probably drinking a few beers, not always, back then, but anyway, so I had to get in there. Next morning I go. And actually it was kind of early. It was a late morning, actually, probably about 10 or so. And it was a beautiful day. Uh, and I had to get in there and I went up those stairs and I walked in and it had this smell and feel. It always had crept me out. And you could see all those windows and stuff. And sometimes there was people, I thought I'd seen people standing in the window. I thought, well, maybe it's just old. I was creeped me out. I was like, look, I don't want to. My friends like, come on, just put the hook in there. Hurry up, let's get going. They're gonna come because they would always come around. They had rose gardens, and they after a while they'd come around. They knew we'd be there after a while, and like I said, these fish were not cheap, and we found out real quick and started fishing for them, hook, line, and sinker. And I got in there, and it just was so creepy. It just got real creepy, and it was huge. And there was a lady at the front desk. But I just a little guy, and I kind of got down, and I went past, and I looked like this, and there was there was an elevator here and an elevator here on either side. So I went to the elevator right across so she wouldn't see me. I pushed the down button, and I got in, and I went all the way down, and it's B, I believe, was for the basement book. It went down further, looking back now, than I thought it probably should have. Looking back now, I definitely know it went down further than I would have assumed it should have back then, because to me, that was just that big, the way it's shaped. It's just, it's what you see, but there's stuff going on down there. And the doors opened, and it got real. Now my friend is down there by the rose bushes. I did have one of my little buddies come with you. I don't know if it was Mike Robinson. It might have been Thomas Brown, Kenny's brother. Uh, who knows? But I had somebody with me, and of course they stashed their bike over by Zenith, the store. The old man would let us keep our bikes there because that's when asteroids was just started coming out a little bit later, the asteroids and then the Space Invaders and all that. And so he would just get your candy and go, and you get a whole bag, like I said, for $1. But if you were playing, you know and if you were putting money in there, and so if you were a regular and you were putting money in there, he seen your bike there, he wouldn't get all pissy. So he had that bike. I knew I had to get that bike, and I'm down there, and uh, so it's huge. It opens up and it's spooky. I am scared, and there's all these like uh, uh, carts like you'd see in a morgue that are to put. They were empty. There were nothing on them, but it had a cold, eerie feeling in there. And went in. I went down a little, and I started looking in these different rooms, and I think it was a stab and slab place. I think it was for embalming and stuff like that, because there's a lot of old people. I can imagine, looking back now, how many old people were dying there. But I found another room, a bigger room, with a bunch of three-wheeler bikes. And guess what? Yeah, a bunch of little three-wheeler bikes with baskets. And I remember seeing sometimes these old people, they would ride around there because it had a bunch of little, and we'd go racing through there. That's a lot of the reason why they came after us too, is because we weren't being very safe with these old people. We were being, and then they had a bunch of grapevines and stuff, and I just remembered this. So they heard it through the grapevine. I used to eat the grapes off there, and I just remembered that, and I just remembered about cooking through, and I forgot all about disrupting those beautiful elderly people's bike ride on them three-wheeler bikes. So I took that one of those bikes, and I went because I watched my cousin ride a Willie Hank. We got a hold of one somewhere. I think it was up in one of the neighbors had one. Anyway, and he was able to put it on on two wheels and have it kind of do like a low rider on switches, and so I did it down there in this morgue. It's crazy. I wanted to do it at least one time, and I got my bike and I pushed it, and I got in the elevator, and I went up and I opened it up, and you know what? When I looked across, I seen that it was a regular elevator. I was in the service elevator. But when I came out, that lady, she seen me with my bike, and she said, "Hey, you." And she got on that phone, and I opened that door, and of course there was cars come pulling in, going, taking probably their grandparents or their mother or whatever up the stairs. Beautiful. It was a beautiful building. It was creepy, man. It creeped me out. Even the other one that was next to it. There was another one next to it. I used to go up and look through their telescope over, and you could see across the sound. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scenery. But I had my bike, and my buddy, I said, "Run, run!" So I got my bike. I'm on my bike now. He's behind me. And I got these caretakers running after me, and I think the reason they caught up to me is because I had stopped and told him, "Come on, let's go." And so we're going, and then I see him, and he's like, "Go, go!" And I'm like, "Well, run!" And so I'm pedaling. I about got killed. I went down across Marine View Drive. It's this exact same road that me and Jesse Burleson, where I had the little Mazda B210 that I painted and didn't get charged for back in the days when they didn't want to charge it. But isn't that something that state just picks up? But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Right down the street from there, where that heist happened much years later, I went down across Marine View Drive. That's why I remembered that, because that strikes that incident. And I about got killed. Went all the way down because it's pretty steep. And when you look at it from the pictures, it doesn't look very steep, but it's pretty steep when you're a little boy. And I got all the way down because there's a dock. And if you look at Zenith, you'll see that exact same dock. I'm sure that's it. Well, now it's eroded so much that now there's a bunch of stairs, and I grabbed my bike and I went all the way down those stairs because, like I said, it's like a cliff down the stairs to it, and the tide was out. So I grabbed it, and I ended up walking all the way up the beach, and it wasn't. And I used to do that all the time from Saltwater Park. I would walk all the way down the beach to the Des Moines Marina, and it was a long. It was well, it was probably 2 miles, a good 2 miles. So walking down the beach, and you're so anyway, and yeah, that was awesome. So, but yeah, it was eerie as could be, and that place is still there. So there's a couple other things I wanted to bring up. So the Zenith, the store, and I looked that up, and it's still, yeah, it's a historical. Wow, it's amazing. It really is. That's pretty cool. Nothing supernatural about that, but it's just for me historically, it's just really neat because I used to buy candy at that Zenith store. I used to buy candy there. It's just really, I don't know, it's just kind of neat. Okay, and then the Boys and Girls Club. Um, that's where my dad's Fred's Fred's friend Chuck has a son Chucky who was I think he was a brown belt at the time. Still pretty good. We dibbled around a little bit. I wanted to start doing some. I think it was karate, maybe kung fu, or something. But it was at the Boys and Girls Club. But they were pretty serious about. They had a good instructor, and of all the stuff we used to get our passes. You get your due, you pay your dues, and you could go play all the games. And he was really serious about what he did. Well, him and Freddie and yeah, all that. It just that was that weird circle going the opposite way. We're not using this for anything other than just to just so people will know it's all right. Just to don't hang on to that stuff, man, because it happens to the best of us. So that's why I wanted old Ken to know. You see, I that's how I was able to gather that with what was going on because he started dating your mom there, right there when are the dogs need to be brought in, uh, where that log almost rolled into to where that log I did roll over the Munden brother. That's where I I that's how I met them is through Fred is Chuck because they were like brothers, and if Fred would have known that was going on, so somehow I still ain't put this two and two together. Chucky and Freddie and Gary and all of them were all weirded out. I'm thinking it stemmed from uh, from Chuck because Chuck was dating the Browns. Like I said, the father was killed. Renee and Jimmy and Thomas and Sarah and Kenny's mom, and so that's how I met them. And see, I didn't know this. I had no idea, but Fred's first wife also lived up there. See, I had no idea. I always thought Fred was my dad because I had no idea, and I might have suppressed some of those memories, but I did remember the San Diego when I started really getting to know my dad before he passed away. When I was in here in Wally World serving this dragon tail sentence, he was letting me know about all this. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, your mom. No wonder why yeah, she got spooked. Or she used to get spooked when I'd say a lot of stuff. I didn't understand why, but anyway. So and then oddly enough, Fred passes away right down there where he'd take us fishing there, down there in Dash Point and Dash Point and Seahurst, there at Seahurst Beach, Redondo or Dash Point. Yeah, Redondo, not Dash Point. Dash Point was, I think that was more like Browns Point. Maybe it was Dash Point. either way, it's all relatively the same area geographically. So I understand, and that's why I came and seen you when I first got out of prison. Something was telling me to come see you, and because now I put all this stuff together. I'm like, huh. So when we talk in secret squirrel code, I know what you're saying, and I know what kind of burden you're carrying, and that's why I don't push the God thing on you. But that's what helped me is giving my life to the good Lord, and then start to become who. See, the Lord, he chooses, he sees fit. Uh, what are you guys doing? Pardon me. I just wanted to see if they were getting something. I was gonna throw in an order, have a little snack later, um, and celebrate my granddaughter's um, her introduction to this beautiful beautiful world that's becoming our dominion once again. We're having dominion over. So anyway, okay, so that's that. The Zenith thing. That's why I posted that with the Masonic home. Jensen. I think it's called Jensen Park, and I think it was Jensen Park back then too. And but yeah, a lot of amazing things. And then let's see. And then I wanted to tell you about um, I wanted to talk about Green Hill. When I first got out of Green Hill, I actually went to Job Corps. I don't know if I told you guys this, in Northern State, and I took the culinary art deal. I was young. I had just turned 21. That's right. I had just turned 21. This wasn't long after I got out of before I got sent, and then to Wally World for the first time because of the Auburn heist, which they were going to give us 10 years for because of the first degree, until they ended up, reading the actual report, and we got a decent prosecutor, and I had a decent, well, the prosecutor. That's really what it was. Really had nothing to do with the public defender. Not this go around. Not at this point. So, or in this instance, I should say, because I've had some real. We'll get to them. But yeah, so I was at Northern State. They converted two of the big, like, mansion style buildings. There was like a sane asylum hospital for the mentally insane, and you could feel it. You know, like I said, I had just turned 21. There was one for girls and two for the boys, and they tried to set it up like a college campus. They had building maintenance. They called butt monkeys. A couple of other things I'm not going to name because they're not appropriate. Where they climbed the pole, did the cable. Matter of fact, a friend of mine actually got a job through Waco. They called it back then, laying cable, running a witch, and cleaning up. Just running cable. I did the culinary art deal up there. It was in Cedro Woolley. Uh, but of course, I had just turned 21 and I started drinking, and they let you drink. Not there, but if you were 21, because you could be in Job Corps up to 23. And I, idiot, man, I was just not doing very well, buying beer for people I probably shouldn't be, thinking that if I just only buy them a little bit. And then I was dating, like I said, I think I mentioned this, Walika and Vashon, and they that they were kind of, they didn't make my stay there much easier because I was selling pot and stuff, and it just wasn't good. I was more disruptive, and think looking back now, I would have really, I could have got a lot out of that. That was a really a neat program, and I hopped from culinary arts to building maintenance, and I was smoking so much weed. I was just I was sleeping constantly, so I'd find a spot up in the loft. They had a little loft area, and the instructor, because I wasn't disrupting anybody, he knew I was up there sleeping, so he didn't really say anything. But I remember one day, and this is a kind of an unrelated thing, but when I think about it, it reminds me of powder, and it may mean nothing to anybody, but building maintenance, they were doing a test on the showing the girls and the boy the class. There was a few boys. It wasn't a big class, probably maybe 7 to 10 people, real small class. Most everybody else wanted to do the jobs that really paid a lot, and this was the easiest one. And I thought, well, hey, and of course I was up there sleeping. But this one particular day, I was watching them put the thing in the meter. They were using a like an analog meter, not a digital one, and because this was many years ago, and I don't know if he was just using it just to, just to get people to see the raw, uh, nature of this type of device, and maybe they did have digital ones. I don't know, but I grabbed both ends and squeezed really tight, and the tighter I squeezed, the more that went up. Serious, I grabbed those things, and then this girl or this kid said, "Oh, that's pretty cool, right?" And so they were trying, and then I kept, "Hey, how come I can't do it, right?" And it got the attention of the teacher, and he came over. He goes, "Do that again." So I did that again. He goes, "Hey, I've never seen that before." And he didn't try it himself, but I guarantee after class he did. I guarantee he did try that, but maybe not. But I'm thinking he probably did. But I ended up getting in a lot of trouble there because I every night every night after classes they would take a run into town, so if people wanted stuff, and then that little shuttle bus would come back into Cedro Woolley and pick everybody up, and it would go drop them off, and it would come back, and they did this a few times certain nights. And I'd go to the Cedro Woolley Tavern, me and a few other people that were 21, and we'd salt our Budweisers and have a few, and that was fine and dandy for a while. It was real neat because we was 21, this and that. And if we were a little too buzzed, they'd security, because they had security there. They'd make you stay in Central. They called it Central, and they'd make you stay in Central, and you could just feel the evil. This place, it still had many structures on it, and they were huge. They might not be there now if you was to Google Google the Google Earth it, but I remember going in there with just let's just say, so I'm not stepping on any toes, with a few friends, just kind of walking around and checking things out. Where the bars, they even barred these up where people had from probably from town would come in, because there was other ways to get in here. And this place was big. It definitely had a morgue, and it had a place. It was creepy. It was, and they had like these, also had like these little roads that were overgrown. It was it was creep. It was a creep show. I'd get into this window, and everything was just like, it was just, there was a lot. Looking back now, I could have, if I would have known now what I would known then, what I know now about, man, there were so many neat old uh, enameled cabinets, and just neat old, the not just the beveled glass, but the glass that's concaved and shaped, and just neat old stuff that I could just get paid out the nose for. Um, and I believe that's probably why. Looking back now, at the time I didn't know, but looking back now, I know that's. And then I met a couple people that said, "Oh yeah, I live right there." Matter of fact, I did. I met a guy right there. Sure did. Met a guy in Larch this last time around, when when they gave me that old kiss of death. I met a pilot and a resident of Cedro Woolley, and his parents are still there. I got his number in my little red book right there. Right, matter of fact, right here. That's what they give you in prison, right here. And it's got, of course, it's got, it's just loaded. It's got all kinds of stuff. But he, not trying to brag, but he wants to take me on a flight. He's got well, one plane. I don't think he has two anymore, and they're going to move over to Idaho. And his family's got a big farm and stuff. Well, anyway, he told me all about that place. He's like, man, we used to go in there all the time, mess around. I'm like, wow, man. He goes, oh yeah, it's haunted. He goes, man, I do not go in there by myself. He goes, you got a lot of. Well, I was in there, and you could just feel it. You could feel it. Well, anyway, I ended up getting kicked out of there. And on the weekends, well, before I get off that subject, on the weekends, if you qualified for a pass, they would take you into town, and it was a long ride, but you could take a Greyhound into Seattle. My cousin would come pick me up, and Larry, he was my dad's Fred's brother's son, and they lived right by where he died, right there in Federal Way. And he had the house, and his dad Larry, after my dad died, just down the road, going home to our house, with his eyes swelled shut because he was pissed. He said, I actually guess story is he stopped off at his brother's after the beating in Auburn, trailer in that boat. And he said, just go home and sleep, Fred. It's like, I think he wanted to get a pistol. I don't know. But like I said, it's not important. But his eyes swelled shut, and that's exactly what happened. Because that was all of the corners and stuff. But thank God for the passing away instantly. So anyway, and it probably would have happened even if he had a seatbelt on, because that thing came through the back of the station wagon. So my point is Larry was there, and he would come get me in Seattle when I pulled in from the. Then he'd take me to his house and stuff, and it was all he was dealing a lot of crank back then, and well, all my they were all into that, and so that kind of got me off. And I'd bring weed back and stuff and do Job Corps jobbies and sell just tiny little pieces for $5, and so I wasn't serious about it. I wasn't. I wasn't doing the place any justice, but I just thought I'd fill you in on that. And then let's see what else. Job Corps, uh, building maintenance. How long have I got? Well, I got an hour and 12 minutes. And I don't have really anything else. I was just going to start going on the rest of the story. Let's see, we got Donnie. Yeah, of course we got Donnie. Let's see, we got Sicilian. We are in Renton. That's right, Renton. Renton, right back in Renton, right down the road where she had that job years before, and ended up getting a job she managed in Taco Bell, and then McDonald's. And I was doing heists, like I said, they'd kicked in the door. That's what I forgot to tell you. They ended up kicking in the door, looking for those Hummel figurines, which were long gone, and so ends up throwing me in jail. Puts a sticker of that they give to the kids. The cops give to the kids, like firemen give stickers out. Well, the cops give stickers out, and they put one on my daughter and took a picture of it, and left one there, I guess, and took one with them. Had my aunt Susie that was up in High Point, Skyway. I mean, not High Point. High Point's in West Seattle. Skyway, where my dad Roy, or my grandfather Bud, the Steen, the originator, or no, it was actually my Keystone Cop. But she came and I think she came and got him, or no, I think it was her sister, Tawana's sister. Well, anyway, because I went to jail. they took me to the Renton jail and wanted me to talk, and I just said, look, book me in. Tawana's at work. They went to her work. It's Fred McDonald. She was working at the time, which was just down the road from the old jail, which used to get flooded. It's not there now. It might be there, but I was at the old jail in Renton. Like the little skywalk by the library. People that know, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know where it's at. They booked me in that little jail, and then I didn't know what they were doing, but they went and tried to, you know, they wanted to get her to squill. And they said, look, we got your 2 kids. They're going to CPS. You need, and she's, you know, like she lost it. Of course, here I'm getting her in trouble and stuff. You know, I shouldn't make fun, which I'm not. I'm just saying she's flipped out, and and the reason I know this is because I'm booked. I'm in the cell. I'm in I'm in the tank with the other boys, and I'm hearing somebody gets booked in. Goes on. There's this girl out here, man. She just lost it. And I said, does she look like this? He goes, yeah. And I said, and this, yeah, and that. He's like, yeah. How'd you know? Because here I am, and he knows. He just came in, and she came in another car right into the Sally port there, and they shut the book in, and she's in the way. And I want to say this just for the whole time there was a receipt that I had sold all those Hummels to someone, and they, well, not at once, but I pieced them out, so it wasn't a felony. I pieced them out, and she had a receipt to a check that was in that person. They didn't even see it. They just looked through. They didn't even see it, but they tore my house up. They didn't even look behind my speakers, and they they brought a whole team in. They did find my weed, though. They found my weed. They didn't charge me with it. They took her to jail. She's flipping out, right? I'm like, oh man, it's her. So they take the kids. Well, she ends up getting out because they don't find nothing. She ends up, you know, now normally these days they wouldn't, you know, they'll be trying to wring that son of a bitch out. They'll make something up. So they let her out, and her sister. Now I end up going to. They don't hold felonies there. I think that's what it was. And it was a misdemeanor place where they only held misdemeanors, and it was a felony. So they ended up shipping me to RJC, Kent. It was a regional justice center. It's in Kent, not Akeem, to be confused with Kent City Jail, which is owned by a judge. We'll get to that. Complete corruption. Well, nothing to see there. That's what I said. You want to talk about? That's where they call a felony or a misdemeanor. I forgot what they call it. A misdemeanor prison or something like that. That's. Oh wait. Hold on, people. Hold on, people. There we go. There we go. Where that's where when you go in for a misdemeanor, he books it all in because he fills up his own little jail. But I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. You do not want to get. This is in the Justice Center, so I went there for a night. I get bailed out. They bail me out, and I get home and you know the house. She already put the house back together, basically. Said, you know what they did? They took a bit. They told me about this and that and the other. And she goes, and look, this receipt's right here. What the hell? What's that? What? Hold on, people. I don't even know what this is. I have no idea what this is, fool. Hold on, let me see.
Alrighty, welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick Online 2021, powered by Twitch. We are still working on that Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Twitch exhibition. We're definitely getting there. We are at 177,000 out of 200.
Let me try something real quick.
Your donations are flooding in. I can see it. I love it. Keep it up. This is amazing. In the meantime, we're going to be heading over to an interview.
Wow. That was crazy, man. All right. So anyway, I love you guys. I'm going to.
We not
Oh
pre-recorded.
yeah. I'm gonna.
Happening right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to cut
Not
this off for
pre-recorded.
now, and
Happening
then I'm
right
gonna go
now.
visit with my granddaughter. I love you guys. Have a good evening, and then we'll pick up where we left off later as soon as I figure out what's going on here. Have a good evening.